Jules, I think it's funny because people talk about how, coaches have philosophies, ways of playing. Yeah. And there's one guy in particular who gets accused of overthinking when he changes things because his team's already really, really good. And in reality, he's changed so much. Go back and watch Barcelona 2009-10. Think about Pep Guardiola. One of the things we've seen this year is effectively him playing 4 center backs, if you want to use that definition, right? Yeah. Either the 3-2-4-1 with Stones in midfield, but Stones is really a center back playing further forward, or the straight back 4 like we saw in the Champions League. You've got a piece coming up.
Yeah, I think it's an amazing evolution again in what Pep Guardiola has been doing as a manager for this Manchester City team too, who at some point was very reliant on their fullbacks. Not so much anymore, or certainly not in the same way as before in terms of attacking productivity, if you want to put it that way. Because now you're right, you've got 4 centre-backs playing in those 4 defenders' position, if you want, whether it's Akanji, Stones, Diaz, and Ake, or you can put Walker instead of Ake or Akanji, whatever. I think Pep sees Walker now, doesn't ask him too much to overlap and go forward like he used to before as a fullback, but more as a very solid centre-back more than anything else. For me, it's quite simple. It's that Pep, in his search of ultimate control in a football match, in terms of when you have the ball, when you're out of possession, in your offensive transition and in the defensive transition that you're going to face from the opponent, have as much control as possible. And now he has a team that is perfectly balanced with 5 defensive players, because you add Rodri to the 4 centre-backs, and 5 attacking players. And I think he sees that as the perfect balance. The team and the pitch is divided in the perfect way. And
the 5-0-5 formation?
5-0-5.
I think what makes it a big difference is that in that group you've got 2 guys who can really pass, right? In Stones and Rodri. Yeah. In that group. So while they may be part of the defensive unit, there's always the out. There's always the quality recycle. And that makes it easier for the 5 guys who are further forward. I think that's the reason.
Yeah, I guess so. Now. Although you don't really ask, not so much of them two to break lines and everything, because I think Gundogan and De Bruyne or whoever plays alongside them can do that anyway. They're not too far ahead. But I just think it's the stability that counts more. And to be fair, a centre-back defends better than a full-back. But in history of the game, we've mentioned earlier on our show, Mazraoui and Cancelo, for example, being great full-backs for Bayern this weekend. But they're not really good defenders. If you have Walker, Akanji, Diaz, Stones, Ake, Walker, they are very, very good defenders. Better than a Cancelo can defend, or Rico Lewis or whatever. So I think there's also probably somewhere in Pep's mind the fact that you are more solid defensively if you've got that line of 4 in front of your goalkeeper than if you had 2 very attacking fullbacks.
Yeah, we make it seem so simple. It's just put more defensive players on there and you'll be more... It does take a lot of work, because you also need to counter for the fact that he says, all right, you're going to have 5 defensive dudes back there. Okay, fine, I'll beat you. I'll have 6 defensive dudes back on mine. I'll just lump the ball forward, back and forth.
But it can't be to the detriment of what you produce with the ball going forward as well, which is, I think, where Pep had to work a lot on. Is like, you can have 4 centre-backs, but then your productivity with the ball has to be as high as before when you didn't play in a back 4 like that.
Yeah, and I also think, especially in Akanji, Ake, Walker, maybe these guys don't have the quality on the ball of obviously Cancelo or whatnot, and they don't break forward as often. But when they do break forward, they do it with so much athleticism and so much directness. Yeah, it's really disruptive. We saw a couple runs from Akanji like that. We saw one from Kyle Walker. It's not going to be the constant out to look for the cross.
No, yeah.
But it creates that imbalance, which is very disruptive.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.